I am squarely in the camp of legalizing, regulating, and putting money into treatments for addicts.
MAGA propagandist Pam Bondi threw out one of the dumbest arguments you are going to see. Francesca Fiorentini of the Bituation Room broke all this down. We're going to take a look at clips of Pam Bondi on Fox News, as well as what Francesca Fiorentini had to say about this. I'm going to share my thoughts as well. Let's get into it together.
Pam Bondi is like if you took a decorative Etsy pillow that said like, God, country, blessed is this house, whatever, some sort of like horribly crocheted pillow, and you just soaked it in a bunch of Chardonnay, and then you lit a burning cross with that Chardonnay soaked pillow. That I think would become Pam Bondi, who once again, in her time in Florida, allowed Trump to get away with defrauding Trump University attendees who were swindled out of their money. But they did get to take a picture with a cardboard cutout of Trump. That was fun. And she's now obviously the Attorney General, and she's making sure that we know that it is fentanyl week, baby. We're talking fent. And she shared this, and then she doubles down. So a few days ago, it was Fentanyl Awareness Day. I guess I missed the memo. I didn't do my little dosage in celebration. I'm very aware of fentanyl. I'm kidding. It is also the one drug that when you're giving birth, you are allowed to get. And you bet your ass hospitals and women who are in birth are going to be denied fentanyl access because of the like insane overreaction to fentanyl. Now, what's really important to know, and if you guys want to, go back to the Bituation Room vault, look up Maya, M-A-I-A, Solovitz. But she is an incredible journalist, and she writes about harm addiction, the opioid crisis, and really our way out of it. And when she was last on, the one thing she told me that like kind of blew my mind was basically, if you wanted to supply all of opioid users with fentanyl for a year, it would take only 2 trailer truck loads. So she's saying that like it would be 2 trucks for a year. Why? Because fentanyl is incredibly potent within a small amount. So in other words, it is really hard to stop all entrance of fentanyl into this country, which by the way, again, is mixed into pills and other things inside the United States, not outside of the United States. It could be trafficked or it's produced from outside. But, there are a lot of dealers here and people who are citizens. So here's what she said, which is amazing. Today is Fentanyl Awareness Day. In President Trump's first 100 days, it's okay, she doesn't have a Southern accent, but we've seized over 22 million fentanyl-laced pills, saving over 119 million lives. What? We're fighting relentlessly for the families of loved ones lost, for those whose lives are at risk, and for the soul of our nation. We will not rest until this poison is off our streets and those peddling it are behind bars. Today, I visited a DEA HQ forensic lab to learn more about how cartels are quickly making this poison that kills Americans. Did you guys like that?
Seeing that pill press should frighten every American. I am terrified after seeing it because it shows how fast you can manufacture and make these pills.
So during our tour, we saw where fentanyl is made trace for research purposes. Also, areas where to learn it came from originally. The DEA says that fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin. According to CDC data, overdose deaths, the leading cause of death for Americans between 18 and 44. The precursor chemicals trace.
Leading cause of death between Americans 18 to 44. I'm pretty sure without even Googling it, that's guns. Like, what do you mean? No, I don't think that's true. But what certainly is not true, people, is 119 million lives were saved because 22 million fentanyl-laced pills were seized. That is quite literally 34% of the population. So Pam Bondi thinks that she and the DEA saved 34% of Americans' lives. That's how many people are on fentanyl or on opioids who would have taken this? Just like so silly. And people made a deal. People were like, what? This math ain't mathing. That doesn't work. And of course, she doubled down on it during this ridiculous Oval Office here, like sort of round table.
So, yeah, what Francesca Fiorentini is saying here. Now, I did look it up. It does look like fentanyl is the leading cause of death for people 1845. I mean, just a quick Google search, that's what it brought up. I don't know if that's propaganda from the administration, but we know that this is an administration entirely built on propaganda. And Pam Bondi is one of the best propagandists that Trump 2.0 has. I'm fully expecting there to be a point where people in Trump's cabinet, like Pam Bondi, are saying the president in his golf game yesterday had a hole-in-one on every hole, that kind of stuff. The president bowls a 300 every game. But with fentanyl, yes, it's dangerous, but this overreaction with it, as Francesca Fiorentini says, with Pam Bondi saying, oh, how terrifying this is and everything. If you believe the law enforcement and the politicians and the people on TV, the media people, if you're just in a room with a fentanyl pill or you look at a fentanyl pill, you're dead. You're already dead as soon as you look at the fentanyl pill. And like Francesca Fiorentini says here with the math, now, they're probably betting on the American people being so stupid that they don't know what the population of the United States is, and maybe a lot of MAGA people who listen to Pam Bondi don't know the population. But based on her numbers, if you went out to dinner with 3 people, so 4 people at a table, almost 2 of those people would have been victims of fentanyl if not for the brave acts of the Trump administration and Pam Bondi, right? It's just ludicrous.
In which everyone sort of went around and was like, I love Trump because he's got a nice wrists. And here she was. And it's a little breathier. Yeah, okay. It's a little bit breathier. And we are saving 34% of Americans' lives.
3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives.
What? Wait. Are you ready for this, media? So she knows that the media is like, I'm pretty sure the pills that if you did seize those, were not going to kill 119 million people, which is just like, look, the opioid epidemic is already bad. You don't have to inflate your numbers for us to take it seriously. In fact, we'll talk about what you have to do to take it seriously. But you hear that, media? Listen, I'm going to even make it worse. Here we go. Look, Dad, look at me right in the eyes. Look at me right in the eyes. JD's like, oh, where's she going with this? I can't believe I killed the Pope. I should be Pope. Oh my God. Here we go.
Your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives. Are dying every day because they're taking this junk laced with something else. They don't know what they're taking. They think they're buying a Tylenol or an Adderall and a Xanax, and it's laced with fentanyl, and they're dropping dead.
They think they're buying a Tylenol for an
It is awesome because you have you have JD Vance sitting there and he's just has this look on his face like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. I don't know that those numbers, I mean, even he is just like, yeah, I'm not buying that.
Adderall? Okay, whoa. Tylenol, that's over the counter. Adderall, that's prescribed. So what do you mean? Do you mean in the black market? Do you mean they're just buying it off the black market, right? Maybe. I mean, it's just so funny that they think they're buying an Adderall. Well, why would anyone need to buy, just the way that we go about trying to stamp out drugs that cannot be stamped out is so ridiculous. I am squarely in the camp of legalizing, regulating, and putting money into treatments for addicts. In addition, to the thing that the Trump administration actually moving in the opposite direction of. But how many? I'm sorry. Let's go back.
Lives. Kids are dying. Media, 258 million lives.
258 million lives. How many people are in the United States? 340. 258. 300. What? So what is that? 75%? 85% of the American population was going to die from fentanyl overdose until you saved us? I mean, what else what else is there to say? You win. This is amazing. And thanks to Paige, my producer who loves these stories and they're important. Remember that there are ways to save lives for people who even accidentally OD, don't know what they're taking, and it's called Narcan. It's called, even if you don't believe in harm reduction or needle exchange or regulation, or you think what I'm saying is too radical, you can believe in Narcan. It saves lives if someone is ODing. And looks like the Trump administration is, they're doing a little reversal on that. Despite the pledge, and this is 2 days ago, to expand naloxone access, Trump administration proposals would cut overdose prevention programs. They've named overdose prevention programs among their top policy priorities, but a preliminary budget proposal that was recently leaked suggested would cut about 24 substance abuse prevention and treatment programs. No. In a document published last month by President's Office of National Drug Control Policy, the first strategy listed under the first policy objective reads, to combat the drug crisis and opioid epidemic, largely driven by fentanyl, the administration will expand access to overdose prevention, education, and life-saving opioid overdose reversal medications like naloxone. However, among the potential cuts listed in the budget proposal in April was a program that directly expands access to naloxone, a $56 million annual grant through the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, that helps distribute kits and trains first responders and others on how to use them.
It ultimately comes down to this administration doesn't want to spend money on anything. They don't want to spend money on anything except war. They're talking about bumping up the defense budget to $1 trillion. They want to spend money on things like parades, military parades for Donald Trump, so he can be like all the other dictators that he admires and have a military parade. But they don't want to spend money on anything that benefits regular people. This funding to try to reduce opioid addiction doesn't benefit billionaires. So why would they spend money on that? What they're doing, the Trump administration, they're going back decades to play the hits. They have all the racism and misogyny and all of that they're doing. But also, they want to play up the war on drugs. We seize this many fentanyl pills to just make up a number that would kill half the population, 3/4 of the population. Oh, look at what Donald Trump is doing for you. Just making up numbers because they know that the media will never really question people like Pam Bondi and the other people from the Trump administration. Because if they try, they're just going to be shut down and shouted down. So it's all just propaganda and lies. And Francesca Fiorentini understands that and does a great job of exposing all of this. I just wish our media, our actual mainstream media, would do the same. And just every time Pam Bondi is in a press conference to say, you just make stuff up, you're lying. Of course, they would just get shut out of the White House press corps. But let me know what you think about all of this. Are we just days or weeks away from Pam Bondi saying that Donald Trump never goes to the bathroom like they say about Kim Jong-un because Donald Trump is a perfect being? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you agree with Pam Bondi or do you agree with Francesca Fiorentini? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.